Hey people, Demon here. Today I'm reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. I finally went to go see it, even though I didn't really want to because of the current situation. But anyways, I'm going to review it. I'll do spoiler-free, then spoilers. Okay, so spoiler-free, it was a good movie. It wasn't like the best movie, like everybody was saying. It was like the best movie ever. I would say it's like one of the better Spider-Man movies. Maybe even the best Spider-Man movie from the MCU. Definitely, maybe. But not like the best movie I've ever seen of Spider-Man. Like a lot of people are saying. But it's a good movie, I guess. Um, it does have some really good parts in it. I do really like some parts in there, and I really do like some parts in there. Like some parts I'll get into in the spoiler section. Ooh, those are good parts. um, but yeah, all in all, I would just say it's a good movie. I would watch it again. It was a pretty fun movie too. And it had some parts in there that were like, holy moly. Holy moly. Like, holy moly, holy crap. Pretty cool actually. But not like the best, but like good. Anyways, on to spoilers.
Just remind you to subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment, share this video, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok down below.
Okay, so spoiler alert. Okay, so basically, this movie starts off from the last time we saw Spider-Man, where where his name got revealed. Now everybody knows Spider-Man, and he is in big doo-doo, to say the least. Basically, he gets arrested for killing Mysterio and doing a lot of damage and blah blah blah. And Happy also gets in trouble for stealing Stark Tech because I guess Happy stole Stark Tech for whatever reason. um, and so does friends get in trouble, and like everybody gets in trouble by the law. But at the end, it turns out no one's in trouble by the law because they all kind of get off scot-free. Except for Happy. Happy still has to get a lawyer. And we do see, I think is Matt. We do see Daredevil. I forgot his real name, but we do see Daredevil as Peter Parker's lawyer. There's a brick thrown through the window. He catches and everything. It's pretty cool. It's pretty badass little Easter egg there. Little hint there. Maybe we'll see him again in the MCU. Who knows? But we do see him, yes, which is interesting. So after that, Peter is happy that he doesn't have to go to jail, but he's also upset that everybody still knows his identity, and they're kind of just stuck in this place where everybody just kind of like hates him, kind of loves him, wants to stalk him. So they move into Happy's place, which is like this really highly guarded building. With like 3 locks on the door. Crazy. And then we kind of just have that. And then we kind of have him applying for college, but every college is saying, no, we can't have you here because of the controversies, blah, blah, blah. And his friends as well have the same thing where it's just like, we can't have you here because of the controversies, blah, blah, blah. And obviously he gets upset by this, so he goes to Doctor Strange. He talks to Doctor Strange to make a spell, and Doctor Strange and him make a spell, but Peter kind of messes it up like 5 times. And I know, like, this is like a little bit of a nitpick, but like, in reality, if like Doctor Strange should have told him like what the spell entails, and then he could have told Doctor Strange like, hey. I know you can make people remember it. Like, can you make people remember? And Doctor Strange would have been like, yes, I can make people remember you. Certain people. He could have just been like, hey, make my aunt, my girlfriend, my best friend happy, and like some other people probably, but make those people remember me, and then make the spell, and then the whole movie would have been like done right there. But that's not what happens. It's kind of funny, but whatever. Although, if he actually did make that spell, I guess it does work because I was thinking, does it erase digital media? I guess it does because at the end he does a very similar spell, and no one knows who Peter Parker is. But we'll get into that a little bit later, obviously. So I don't know how it erases digital media, but whatever. I guess it's magic. But anyways, he keeps on saying like, "Oh, I gotta have all these people remember me because, you know, he's a kid." Kind of like the spell. I think there was a comic book about this where he was where he tried to do this with Mephisto or something like that. Anyways, he does the spell, messes up, and then people from the multiverse that know Peter Parker start coming into this reality. And we only see people from the other Spider-Man movies. Because I guess those are the closest ones to this reality. I don't know. There's tons of Spider-Man, but those are the ones that we see. So we see those people come into this reality, and we see the villains first. So the villains are there. First person we see is Doc Ock, and he is angry, and he is kicking Spider-Man's ass until he absorbs Tony's suit and Spider-Man can control it. Which is interesting. And also he talks to the people from the college, but that's kind of just a little side plot there. Anyways, he absorbs Peter's suit. He gets stuck because Peter's suit can control him now. And then he goes on. And then he goes back to Doctor Strange's place, trapping Doc Ock there in like a dungeon basement, pretty much. And he realizes, like, basically, Doctor Strange says, like, hey, this is what's happening, blah, 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 like, because of this, these people are coming here. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever. They're like, okay, we have to go get them. And then he had Doc Ock, and he had the Lizard, so he had to go out and find the rest, which is the Green Goblin, too. The Green Goblin's there as well. So they go out to find the rest. And who does he find immediately after? He finds Electro and Sandman. And Sandman kind of helps him, but still doesn't trust him fully. So it's interesting. And then he eventually finds Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. But he's kind of like insane still, where he's trying to be good, but his bad side's taking over. It's very interesting because he's with his aunt at Feast. I think that's her place of work. I think at least in most media, I think. But he's with her, and then basically his aunt says like, you got to help these people. So he takes him back to Doctor Strange, and then basically we realize that these people all died in the last Spider-Man movies, which us as the audience already knew, unless you haven't watched the last Spider-Man movies, I guess. And then Peter's like, oh, I don't want that to happen. I don't want these people to die. So he tries to stop Doctor Strange, and he does trap him in the mirror dimension, which is kind of cool and interesting, I guess. And then he goes back to help these villains by taking them to Happy's place, which is a big mistake. And first, he cures Doc Ock, which is very interesting. So he cures Doc Ock, and then he cures... then he attempts to cure Electro, but Electro rips out the cure because he doesn't want to be cured. Because, let's just say, Norman Osborn... he reveals his true colors after Spider-Man realizes that Norman Osborn is evil. He reveals his true colors, and it's a badass moment, man. We haven't had this Green Goblin in a while. We have good speeches and stuff. They're fighting, man. All the villains start fighting him. Well, all the villains escape except for Norman Osborn, pretty much. And then Norman Osborn starts fighting Spider-Man and just kicking his ass. It's super good. It's super duper duper good. Like Norman Osborn just starts kicking Spider-Man's ass. It's like it's just super awesome. um, but yeah, Norman Osborn starts kicking Spider-Man's ass, and at the end, he ends up killing. He ends up killing Spider-Man's aunt. Just straight up ends up killing her, and Spider-Man has to kind of deal with that. Like, oh my goodness, my aunt is dead. And he's very upset about this, obviously. And then we flip back to uh, his girlfriend and Ned, MJ and Ned, where they have the box that can kill everybody. But they're like, let's get Spider-Man back first. So they try to bring Spider-Man, but they accidentally bring the last two Spider-Mans. Tom Holland and... Wait, is Tom Holland the new one? I don't know the new ones. I kind of get messed up on the names. Andrew Garfield? Andrew Garfield's one of them. And Tobey Maguire, the very first Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire? That's his name, right? I don't know, something like that. Anyways, they end up bringing the first two Spider-Mans, and it's like, oh my goodness. And then they have like this little talk and stuff, and they go to find Spider-Man. And then Spider-Man's pissed off. He's just like, you know what? I'm gonna kill these bad guys because like I don't care anymore because they killed my aunt. And then they had like this speech where it's like, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's awesome. It's awesome. And this is like where I guess this Spider-Man is coming into his own character pretty much. Like after these last three movies, he's kind of like coming like into his own character where he still needs help, but doesn't need as much help, I guess. And it's very, very interesting, very cool scene there. We get to learn like a little bit more about the backstories of the other Spider-Man, which we already know, but Peter doesn't. It's pretty cool. This makes me wonder if all these villains were gonna die when they got summoned to this world, right? Does that mean that the other two Spider-Man were gonna die when they got summoned to this world? That's just a question I have, but I guess that's not going to be answered because we don't get to see in third dimension what happens or anything, sadly. But maybe in the future we will. I doubt it, but maybe. Anyways, so we get to meet these two old Spider-Man that we knew, and then they team up, and their team up is very bad. Until they finally work as a team, and it's kind of a cool little thing where they're talking and stuff, and they're talking about like how they're Spider-Man and stuff, and like what's happening and stuff. And the original Spider-Man, he shows that he doesn't need web fluid; he just has webs in his arms. And the other Spider-Man kind of just asks like, "How the heck does that work?" And he's just like, "Oh, like I don't know, it just kind of works like with breathing and stuff." And it's pretty cool. It's kind of funny. It's cool. It's interesting. I really enjoyed that part. And then they have to fight the villains, and of course they heal all the villains because that's what Peter, the MCU Peter, wanted to do. So they heal all the villains. They heal Sandman from being the Sand Monster. They heal the lizard. They heal him back into his normal form. They heal, I guess not heal, well, yeah, I guess heal. They heal Electro by turning him back into his normal form. And also, Doc Ock shows up and helps them because it turns out he didn't turn back into his evil self. He's a good guy, like he was at the end of Spider-Man 2, back in like the old days. Like he was a good guy, he turned to an evil guy, then turned back into a good guy. And this one, exact same thing happened. He's a good guy again, and helps them take down the villains. Doctor Strange shows up and doesn't really do anything to help, to be honest. He just kind of just like there. And then Green Goblin shows up and almost like blows up Doctor Strange. Because he took the box and he put something back. He put a bomb in it, And Doctor Strange took it back, and it's just like, oh shit! It's like, boo! It blows up. And of course, Green Goblin is just this awesome freaking, like, oh man. He's gotta be like the best out of all the villains there. I gotta say it. He's the best out of all the villains there, 100%. Most memorable. Like, he's the best, and he killed freaking Aunt May. It's crazy. He's like the best out of all the villains there. Just love him. Just love him. And also, he did that meme where he's just like, I'm a bit of a scientist myself. He did that meme. It's pretty funny. Just love it. And then him and Spider-Man fight. And this time, Spider-Man ain't holding his punches, man. And he's just kicking Green Goblin's ass, man. He's just kicking his ass. He's fighting him as hard as he can. And at the end, he's trying to cheat and stuff. And at the end, he almost kills him. He almost kills him. MCU Spider-Man almost kills Green Goblin until the original Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, he shows up, stops him from killing him. He's just like, you can't do this crap, man. And then he kind of realizes, like, yeah, I can't do this. Like, you're right. And then he gets stabbed in the back. Green Goblin is just like, I don't want you to save me. I want you to, I want this to happen. So he stabs Spider-Man in the back. Or the original Spider-Man. And then we think that MCU Spider-Man is gonna like kill him, but no, he gets the cure from the other Amazing Spider-Man. He gets the cure from him, and he stabs him with it and turns him back into normal Osborn. And then they kind of like go around other Spider-Man that's kind of like they're just kind of laying there dying, bleeding out. But he's fine somehow, I guess. I don't know how he's fine, but he's been stabbed before. He's like, I've been stabbed before, I'm fine. Nothing that bad as catfish, I guess. Maybe they filled it with web fluid or something. I don't know. But he's fine, and he's kind of like standing up. And then Spider-Man has to go talk to Doctor Strange because the explosion opened up this wrong spell, and if this wrong spell gets out, all the people in the multiverse that know Spider-Man will come to this universe. All the people that know he's Peter Parker, I should say, will come to this universe, and we see like some shadowy outlines of Spider-Man. And there was like a small reference to Miles Morales there, where Electro is just like, I thought Spider-Man would be black. It's just like, yeah, there's probably a black Spider-Man out there, and there's Miles Morales. And probably a different one. I don't know if there is or not, but there's probably other ones. But there's definitely Miles Morales, so that's like a little reference there. But then we see this portal opening, and we see all these things coming out, and there's like, holy moly. And then Spider-Man is just like, how do we fix this? He's like, I don't think we can fix this. He's just like, what if everybody forgets me? He's just like, that's how this happened in the first place. We can't do that. He's like, no, what if everybody forgets Peter Parker? And he's like, yeah, that will work. But everybody will forget you. No one will know you ever existed, blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, that's fine. Just do it to save the world. Which is like us watching him become like a true hero. It's a really cool ending, actually. It's a really good ending. And I guess he's okay with this because his Aunt May is dead, so it's not like he has a family to go back to anymore. I guess you could say, well, Happy could have been like his foster family or something like that. But he is old enough to take care of himself because he's almost in college, so I'm assuming he's like 18 or something like that. But anyways, we see him say this. Doctor Strange goes, okay, I'll make that spell to end this all. And he goes, can I go say goodbye to my friends? And he's like, yeah, you can. He goes to the two Spider-Man. He talks to them a little bit, gives them a hug. He leaves. And they're just kind of standing there going, that's like, oh yeah, we're going home. And the one Spider-Man is in real lots of pain because he is stabbed through the chest. It's pretty funny. And then he goes to talk to MJ, and I forgot his friend's name. what is his friend's name? What is his friend's name? Whatever, his best friend. I forgot his name. I'm sorry. And there's a joke in there, by the way, where MCU's best friend, like his best friend asked, like the original Spider-Man, he asked him like, "Do you have a best friend?" And he's just like, "Yeah, I did have a best friend." He's like, "Did?" He's like, "Yeah, he died in my arms after he tried to kill me." It was pretty funny. There's a little joke like that. That's pretty funny. Just remembering that. But yeah, he's like there. He's like talking to them. He's just like, "Listen, guys, this is what's gonna happen." And then he kind of like promises them like, I'll come to you and I'll tell you who I am and stuff, and we can start over hopefully." And they're like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay." And then it happens. Everybody forgets. And at the end, we get to see him trying to go to the cafe that MJ works at. He sees her. He sees his best friend. And he thinks to himself, like, should I really do this? And he decides not to do it because I guess he decides that it's going to be too dangerous for them or something like that. And I'm assuming this is going to happen. I'm assuming eventually they're going to remember somehow who he is and be really pissed off at him for like not telling them. But I'm assuming somehow they're going to remember somehow, maybe through something or through like lost memories, because obviously there's going to be a lot of lost memories. So they're going to remember somehow who he is, I'm assuming, eventually. And I'm assuming other people will too, eventually, but at least that's what I think. Or maybe he'll get new friends and new lover. I don't know. Maybe they'll bring in a black cat. I don't know. Anyways, so we see that, and it's like a bittersweet ending. We see him talk to Happy one last time, and then he goes off to live in this kind of crappy apartment. Kind of reminds me of where Tobey Maguire Spider-Man lived in Spider-Man 2 and 3, I think it was, or 3 at least, for sure, in like a crappy apartment. And then he hears stuff and he goes to save the day because he is Spider-Man. And it's very interesting, very cool. Really enjoyed this. I really did enjoy this movie. I mean, it's not like it was like the best out of the best, but I really did enjoy it. It had an end credit scene where we had Venom there. For some reason, I guess he somehow connected to the other Venom, but whatever. Um, so he's there. And he is just he's just there, and then he disappears back to his normal universe. But he does leave a little drop of symbiote there, so I guess a Venom child that I'm guessing we're gonna call Venom. That will eventually reach Spider-Man, I assume, or somebody else maybe. I don't know, but I'm assuming we're gonna see that again. So that's a whole thing. So that's a whole thing. That's pretty cool. Kinda can't wait for that because obviously Spider-Man and Venom, pretty good. And also just good movie in general. But yeah, this movie really good. I did want to watch this in the theaters. To be honest, I did not want to watch this in the theaters, to be honest, because of the whole like COVID thing and such. But I caved in because I kept on hearing like a bunch of stuff about it, and like I didn't want to get spoiled, so I caved in and I watched this movie. Even though there's a bunch of movies I wanted to watch, and I never went to the theaters to watch them because I didn't want to watch them in the theaters. But I caved in for this one movie. Probably won't do it again, but I did for this movie. And there are some movies I have to catch up on when they come out, like, eventually. That I will watch eventually. Like, I think Venom's already out, so I gotta watch Venom 2 and stuff. But I will catch up on those movies as well. But this movie was good. And I really did like it. And, man, I wonder what's going to happen in, like, the fourth one. Because he's still there, so there's got to be, like, a fourth one or a cameo or something like that. Well, there's got to be a fourth one because they have the symbiote now. I wouldn't assume that they would use it in a cameo, but they might. I don't know. Sadly, we never got to look into the other realities and see what the other Spider-Man were doing, but we got to see this reality, and it was pretty cool, nonetheless. Very cool, very interesting, and man, I gotta say, best villain, Green Goblin. Green Goblin, 100% the best villain out of all the Spider-Man movies. Prove me wrong. uh, Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell notification. That's the best way to keep my channel. Link down below to my Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. As always, my friends, hit that bell notification, by the way. As always, my friends, stay sane. Peace.
Just remind you to subscribe, hit that bell, like, comment, and share this video. Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok down below.
Shadow, my baby, I love you so much. You're my baby, and you love to sleep in the bathtub. 'Cause you're a weirdo. Shadow, look over here, buddy. Look over here.